Built a new rear skid for it. Built it 2 years ago for it, and we ended up grabbing the wrong set of rails. So it threw all the dimensions off. Trenton, grab the rail that we're supposed to have. I'm gonna show you the difference. And head scratching, pounding our heads against the wall. This is a skid. These are the rails that I originally set up wet basement 10 years ago when I built this sled. So if you see, let's push things back here. So let's line up the rear of the rail right here. Here's the rear of the rail lined up. See where this mount does not line up then? So that it throws this distance off at the front of your tunnel. See, the front of the rails line up. So now if you move this forward to where that lines up, that sticks way forward. So trying to mount this into the original holes that we had in the tunnel from before, we couldn't get it to fit, couldn't get it to fit, couldn't get it to fit. We tried drilling new rear holes, tried doing this, tried doing that. You could find some of it on the interweb, but it was hard. We really couldn't get a good answer of what was going on until we brought the skid home and sat it side by side from the skid that we took out of it. And then I could see the difference. And Trenton's like, well, let's just drill different holes and stuff. I'm like, let's just put the skid, let's build the old skid again. That rear skid worked so awesome in that sled. It squatted nice, it picked the skis nice, and the thing just hole launched like crazy. I mean, it had a hole shot from hell. So that's what he's gonna do right now. He's gonna build the new skid so we can get it back in wet basement. We haven't ridden that sled in over a couple years now because of the skid issue. And I wanna get it up, and it's got that fresh trail mod motor in it, and I've only ridden it a couple 100 miles. And then we ran into a skid issue. We wanted to rebuild it because we had bad shocks in it, and then we were like, oh, well, let's put down bearings in it. What?
It's the jack shaft.
Oh, that's right. That's what Trenton just reminded me what happened. What happened again, Trenton?
The jack shaft snapped in half.
And how did the jack shaft snap? Duct tape Mike was doing power launches on glare ice, and the thing was hooking up so hard that it broke the jack shaft right behind the caliper. We thought we broke the chain at first, but it was actually the jack shaft. So that's what put it out of commission, was the jack shaft.
And lack of snow.
And lack of snow, and then we decided to do a new skid for it, and the skid didn't work, and then we got frustrated and walked away. So, but it's our goal by next weekend is to get wet basement back out on the snow again and get some kick-ass videos of that thing kicking ass 800s again. So, so Trent's gonna plug away on that. We're gonna jump back on Project Loner this weekend also, get the skid back in that he's got all built for it. I got the front end back in it too. So yeah, we're gonna try and button this up this weekend, so next weekend, once again, we can haul this up north and get this out on the snow too. So it's gonna be a busy, busy weekend. I just finished up the 6.5 motor for Project Hothead, and we might even get the engine back in Project Hothead this weekend too, but busy, busy, busy. We got a kind of a full day tomorrow for a funeral we're going to for a good friend of ours that passed a couple weeks ago. So yeah, we're gonna work on sleds though whenever we can this weekend. So thanks for stay tuned here, watch and follow us along here through these videos. Also, if you want to help support us, please consider clicking on the thanks button. Donate whatever you possibly can towards the builds. It really, really helps out. Keeps us building the sleds, keeps us sharing our ideas and tricks and whatnot. And yeah, we'll start plugging away. What we got going on there, Trenton?
Screw completely stripped.
Some jackass put a screw in there that's totally stripped out. Who was the last one to change slides on it?
One of us.
One of us stuck a stripped out screw back in the slides. So we're getting it out with the old fits all, the vice grip. God, shame on us. All right, I'll pre-mix the first tank of gas. Rummaging for parts. Found it, huh? Right where you put it. All right, let's rebuild the fuel pump and we'll look in the carbs right after we crack the belt. Cracking the belt. I'm running with that one. Oh, yes. Yum, 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 yum. Cracking the belt. All right. That's my saying. I don't think I've heard that one yet. I used to say cracking the gash all the time, and now we're cracking the belt. Yeah, let's rebuild a fuel pump. I had a bizarre thing happen recently on parts sled. Wouldn't run. Probably said this in another video, but struggling trying to get it to run. And I took the fuel pump apart, and on the diaphragm side, I found a little bit of oil back there. And I think it was holding the diaphragm so it couldn't flutter. Fuel pump, I put new guts in it, cleaned that little bit of oil out of it, run like a top again. You'll see, go back this summer in one of the videos when we couldn't keep it running. That's what was going on. That was exactly what was going on. Somehow it got some oil behind that diaphragm. So, if you ever develop a sudden running issue where they won't sit and idle and you got to keep choking and choking and choking, take a peek, take a look inside the fuel pump once. See if you got some oil or something. I've never seen it before, but God, crazy things can happen. I mean, look at this one. Soaked in oil. Absolutely soaked. This is on the fuel side, but I'm seeing some little bubbles back here. No, that's dry. See, this is where I had the oil. Here's your diaphragm side. That's what creates your fluttering. And there was some oil back here, and the diaphragm was sticking back here. So I think this is just, oh yeah, you know what that is. That's bad gas. That's what that is. That wasn't oil. That is bad gas. Woo, man. That's a gag-a-maggot. Alright, let's sit down and get serious here. Now I got the cheaters on. This is my favorite for scraping gaskets off of cylinders, fuel pumps. Sometimes they come off nicely, but get a little blade action in there. Separate it. Tell you, this getting old thing's a bitch. My grandpa always said it ain't for sissies. I'm 53 now. Starting to develop arthritis in my hands, especially my right hand, that's my primary hand. This winter's been hell on it, man. After a day of wrenching, I can't hardly grab anything. It sucks. Just sucks. But I ain't gonna let it stop me. Not gonna let it slow me down. I'll just pay for it some days. Sure. Some days it's gonna hurt. I'm I'm guessing. Gotta remember which order I take it apart in. So these things are just a complete raging pain in the ass. And all you gotta do is have patience. A little squirt of WD. A little squirt of WD that goes a long ways on this one. They ain't the easiest to get in. Just kind of push in and kind of twist and hope for the best. Usually they work their way in. I used to not change them. It's just one of them pieces and it really never went bad, but I figured, well, they come in the kit. Might as well change them. Might as well. Why not, right? Little embossment. Line it up. Here's another one. Line it up. Okay, let's take a little peek inside the carbs. I actually sonic cleaned these last year when we first got this sled from my cousin, but I'm going to open them up. Just take another peek in them before I put them on. Much easier now to take a look. See if there's any issues anywhere in here. That's just parts washer solvent in there because I did have these things sitting in the parts washer. I'm seeing, yeah, looks like these can go right back on. These are, like I said, I cleaned them. I went through these carbs last year, made sure everything was good and clean in them, checked everything. I want to show you guys something here. I noticed when I was working on the sled, somebody put themselves a little cutoff switch in here. Look at this little guy right here, a little toggle hidden up inside their footwell here. So when the side panel's on, you don't see it. I noticed it's all wired in the ignition, so somebody put themselves a little anti-theft device right there. Clever. I give it one of these. Yeah, right when I seen it, I'm like, I think I have a feeling what that's all about. And once I seen the wires going up into the ignition and stuff, I'm like, anti-theft. That's a good idea. I like that. All right, sweetheart, come to Papa. We can do this. We can do this. Oh, yes, 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 yes. That's what I like. That is what I like. Okay, we gotta change the weights here. This clutch came off of a 500 Classic, and so it has 10 M's in it. And the clutch over here that came off the Classic Touring, it's getting kind of loose. This is a better shaped clutch. I've already ran it through the ultrasonic cleaner, so it's cleaned up inside, but I just have to change it because that one has 10 MBs in it, which are about 2 grams lighter. So just gotta swap out the weights, put the clutch back on. Ten MBs, 10 M's. So I'm going to stick these back into this clutch. It's about time to crack a belt, huh? Oh, Jesus. Oh, yum, yum. Now there's going to be times when I'm working on stuff that you're not going to want to do things the way I do it. Because my way isn't always the correct way. Right now is one of them times you're not going to want to do it the way I do it. Or you can do it the way I do it. But if you want to do it the correct way, I'd look in the book and see what the torque is supposed to be on this, because I'm going to just do it the way I always do it and put it on like this. Done. That's the way I do it. Alright, I like to put a little fresh grease on this little fella right here. Makes it so much easier taking the secondary off in the future. Just nice little skim coat on it. I've got to get all silly here. This didn't make the video, but I did take this clutch all apart, cleaned it all inside, checked everything over. A little fresh dab of Loctite on the end of the bolt. Just checking everything there. Skidding it so everything kind of moves freely. The track's kind of rocking back and forth down there. So. Let's change the chain case oil. I think on the earlier models, they relied on a friction fit on this drain plug because I've never been able to get one of them to ever come out. Then sometime they switched them to where they put a O-ring in them, so they're a lot easier to come out. And that's the case with this one here. It's in with an O-ring, so they come out a lot easier. I'm just going to get it loose. Then I'm going to tip the sled back down and finish pulling it out and drain it into a drain pan. Of course I spilled. Why would I not? That's why you want to change your chain case oil. See how metallic it looks? Yeah, not good. All right, Polaris Bible calls out for 11 ounces of fluid for this chain case. It's a reverse chain case, so I use ATF in all my chain cases. You can use whatever you want. I've been using ATF for 30 years, and I've never had a chain case failure due to running ATF. This sled here, I'm actually putting some leftover CVT ATF in it. It's from a vehicle I worked on that recalled for this, and I'm going to use this in there. I think any type of oil in the chain case is going to work. What I'm trying to do is lubricate the chain and gears. You can use whatever you want. Like I said, there's sometimes in my videos you're not going to do what I do, but this is what I'm going to run. I have it. I'm all about trying to go cheap, and ATF is definitely way cheaper than Polaris chain case oil, so this is what I'm going to use on this one. I've used this on a couple other builds, this CVT oil, and I am perfectly fine with using it. All right, we got the skid in. There's one thing Polaris failed the consumer on, was the location of these front bolts on the extra 12, and I'll show you why. They're way up inside of where your foot stirrup is. So what I found worked best is after I got the bolt started, is I ran a long extension to a wobbler extension to a socket in here so I could run it in with a small 3/8 impact. And I'll find my wobbler extension here, in case some of you don't know what a wobbler extension is. I think that's what they call them. So it's so your socket can wobble on your extension. So you'll find them at the parts store and whatnot. Here's, God, this thing just don't like to focus in close, but there it is. It's kind of cut at an angle, allows your socket to wobble around on the end. I couldn't even get a swivel in there. It was just too tight in for a swivel, but I didn't film us putting it in. If there's one thing that Trent and I argue about on a snowmobile, is definitely putting the skid in. They suck. Almost every one of them suck, but these extra 12s suck even worse because you got an extra bracket has to go in. One thing nice about them is the plates that are in the tunnel have like a guide, a U shape that guides the suspension in. So it does reduce some of the fighting, but it's just a sucky thing. Trenton's got another part skid in here. Still working on wet basement skid, so he pulled another skid out of the pile of skids outside. He's taking some parts off it to be able to get the skid back together. Yeah, we're rolling along. I'm about to bring the hood in. Actually, the hood's in. I'm gonna get it on the stand. I think I'm switching out the headlight housing because it's all sun faded. And the other one I have is gutter, so I think I'm gonna swap them out. Wash up the hood good, put a little coat of wax on. Maybe do a final detail on here, but this thing is so close to firing up. Got the battery in, put the air box in this morning after cleaning that. Exhaust is on. You guys watched me do the chain case oil. So I'll keep plugging away here and I'll go to the next step here. Might have to run the buffer on this track.
Yeah.
Do a little buffing. I think the mirrors may even need a little fresh coat of trim black. All right, let's put a little shine back in this hood here. A little bit of shine. Then we gotta do a little welding on wet basement skid. Trent found a bad hole, so he's prepping that. Do a little waxing, a little buffing here. And we're gonna do a little welding. Ready for me to do some welding, Trenton?
Uh-huh.
All right,
Let's put the stick back outside.
come back to this. Let's go do some welding. All right, like last time, let's fix a bad suspension mount hole. I'm gonna preheat it with my torch first. That way the weld just kind of lays right in there right away. I'm using just some monstrous filler rod too. Copper backer so I can fill in. My torch hates me. Not so bad. Where's that brush at, Trenton? Let that cool and we'll grind it off. Just about a wrap on the skid, huh, Trenton? Got our welding repair all done right there. Trenton's just putting the last couple brackets in. Busy day in the shop today. We got Megan and Dom over here working on the vintage camper build. What are you guys working on over here, Megan?
My camper.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What are you guys doing?
Well, right now we're doing roof stuff.
Yeah.
Prepping the roof.
Prepping the roof?
Yeah.
Taping the edge, taping the seams,
Yeah.
getting ready to put a modern style RV roof on it. Get rid of the aluminum piece together roof that was up there that leaked. It's kind of why we had to redo the camper, because the roof leaked and destroyed the inside. So Megan and Dom are working on trying to get the RV roof back on. And I'm sitting here working on Loner. Just about got it wrapped up. Apparently it had been in one heck of a crash. Front end was all smashed in. The hood would not fit at all. Took it on and off no less than 45 times, I think, to pound the hinges out further and further. So we'll keep cracking at it. Yeah, Trenton's just about got the skid wrapped up. Lots of pieces. This one's gonna fit, right, Trenton?
God, I hope so.
Yeah, we gotta start doing some more lake runs on wet basement. Fun sled to ride. Hopefully this weekend.
Gotta line Jason. in the
Yep.
basement up.
Yep, gotta line the two up. All right, where are you at here on this roof, Megan?
We got it all rolled up and laid out so that when we do put it on, it's not going to have any wrinkles or anything.
The creases from when they shipped it, folded in the box.
Yeah.
Yep. So you got all your edges prepped. Everything's
Yep.
prepped all the way around. You got all your seams up on the roof taped. Now we're gonna roll this up nice and tight and let it sit for a week or so, and then we'll glue it on after all the wrinkles hopefully come out of from when they folded it in the box to ship it.
Yep.
Next thing we're gonna measure for is a countertop inside. Yeah, maybe once she jumps down, I'm gonna start pumping gas in Loner here. Loner is so close to starting now. So I'm gonna get some gas pumped in there and we'll take a look at this countertop. All right, we'll let that pump fill the tank, and that thing is ready to start and do a final wash on it. A little pre-mix because of those new oil lines we put on. All right, my vision is a butcher block countertop. What are you thinking, Megan? Yep,
Yeah.
a butcher block countertop. So we're gonna measure. Her and Dom are gonna run, I think, to Menards and pick up a butcher block countertop for it. That way we can get the sink cut into it. And then we're just gonna do a cooktop, and then we'll fill this area with a cabinet and a microwave then. The old stove that was in here was so mouse piss filled that there was no way we could possibly ever cook another meal on that stove ever again. So that went in the scrap bin. And yeah, next step is to get the countertop. And it is looking just amazing here from what it was. If you look back in my videos from years ago, we started this project. How many years has it been now, Megan?
I think 5.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's bad. But all right, well, that's that. All right, so ready to start it. Gonna do the old huff and puff in the tank. I hate doing it. I was just gonna do it, and Trent's like, oh, hang on, we gotta get the pull handle on first. So got the new pull handle on it. Blow in the tank and then fire it on up. Hopefully it fires. Ah. Whew. Hate doing it. We got electric start, so hopefully we can crank it over a little bit. But the whole fuel system was dry.
What about that switch?
Nope, I got it set. I checked the switch, the anti-theft switch.
There we go.
Definitely doesn't sound like a triple. Definitely does not sound like a triple. Well, I think it's time to call this build a wrap. She runs, drives, did some pow-powing on it. Minus a windshield right now. I have a brand new one that I got, but it's not as tall as the one I ordered from another place. And I'm really hoping the one from the other place comes because the one is 22 inches versus 16 inches, and I want the tallest windshield possible on this snowmobile. So, kind of holding tight on doing anything with the windshield. Now's the time of the build. We go, what does it weigh? Trenton, what is your guess? It's short one cylinder.
Well, 585.
Trenton's like 585. I'm going 540. 540 on it. So get your guesses in. We're gonna get it rigged and we're gonna see what does it weigh. All right, so get your guess in. I'm at 540, Trenton's at 585. There's just a little bit of snow maybe on the skis and the skid, and there's 5 gallons of gas in it. So, pause the video, get your guess in, down in the comments, because we're about to lift it. All right, what does it weigh? Oh boy. She's a heavyweight. Oh my. Oh my. Oh my, my.
She's at
650 pounds.
Jesus.
It's off the floor.
She's a big one.
Oh man, oh man, oh man. 150 pounds on a 500 twin. I was over 100 pounds off. I can't believe that. Wow. I would have never thought a sled would go over 600 pounds with a 500 in it.
Cheapo weighs that much.
Yeah, that's our other second heavyweight is Cheapo. All right, well, this was a fun build series. I had a blast. This is actually one of the cheapest sleds I think we've built to date. Our biggest bill was the windshield, $100 for the windshield. We did slides, did all new bearings, new spark plugs. I had some belts around here. Got a new belt on it, but I already had them. We got them out of some part bins and stuff that we had. I think that's about all really the money was spent on this thing. Under $400 total to bring this old girl back to life. It took 2 sleds though, the best parts off of each sled to put this one together. I think my brother and sister-in-law will thoroughly enjoy riding this thing. Thanks for watching all the videos on it. And if you want to help the channel all, consider clicking on the thanks button. You can donate a little bit to the channel to help keep the builds going. Really would appreciate it. So we'll keep clicking away. This weekend, Trent and I are going to put Cheapo back together, put the cylinder back on, and we're going to do some more on the turbo sled. Got some ideas for the air intake on the air box. If the slides don't do it, I got an idea for the air box. So stay tuned. We'll do some more videos.
And we're putting wet basement back together.
That's right. And we got the skid ready to put back in the wet basement so we can go out and tear up some stuff with wet basement too. So, all right, well, let's drop this thing back down. This big tank. Wow.
Should lift the skis off the ground at least.
Yeah, it's heavy in the rear.